and welcome to the second virtual tour of Unique Pueblo Agriculture. This tour was all about emus and Pueblo. In this video, you will get to learn about what it's like to raise emus, what infrastructure you need for them, and what makes them unique as a value-added product to our community. You will get to hear from a local emu producer, Jocelyn Rafferty-Kramer, and meet her 4 incredible emus. Emus are the second largest birds in the world by height and are native to Australia. They are soft, feathered, brown, flightless birds. On average, they are about 5.7 feet tall, with the males weighing in from 110 to 121 pounds and females ranging about 11 pounds heavier than males in that same weight range. Males sometimes make calls that sound like they are saying emu, which can be heard over long distances, and females make booming drum sounds, which you'll get to hear in this virtual tour. Emus are omnivores, meaning they eat a variety of items like insects, seeds, fruits, flowers, and greens like kale or romaine lettuce. Emus can become aggressive due to their status as prey animals in Australia. They have been known to kill predators such as snakes, bobcats, wild dogs, and possums. Their claws are big and their legs are strong and long, making them powerful kickers and extremely fast when they run. Emus can run up to 31 miles per hour, which is a tad bit slower than an ostrich, which can run up to 43 miles per hour, but is still faster than the fastest human alive at the moment, Usain Bolt. Hi everybody, so this is our second round of our virtual tours of Pueblo County with our unique agriculture. So today I'm here with Jocelyn Rafferty-Kramer, and she's going to be talking to us about what she does here, everything she raises, and then her one exotic pet that we're going to be looking at and talking about what in the world is it and how in the world do you keep it. So Jocelyn, tell me about what you raise here and how you got started and just all the ins and outs.
So I grew up raising poultry. I loved it. My grandparents helped me learn, and I was in 4-H. So as time grew on, I've always had chickens, I've always had turkeys, I now have dairy goats, and I have geese. That's one of my new acquisitions. I'm working on a conservation project for certain breeds. And this year I decided to up my game a little bit and get emu. So I have 4 emu that live on the property here now, and I've integrated them in with goats and chickens, and so far all the species are doing very well. We'll wait and see how it goes though when breeding season hits.
Sounds good. So tell me, why did you get into emus? That's a pretty exotic thing. I don't feel like a lot of people have those. So what made you decide to take that leap?
Well, it was something I always wanted to do when I was younger. I wanted ostrich. And then it kind of transferred into the emus, a little friendlier size, not as intimidating, and I have already had the fencing for it. And I really wanted to raise them from egg, which I think this is a really interesting fact. So the female lays the egg, but the male will scoot it, and the male incubates it, and he'll sit on the eggs for 55 days. And one emu egg is the size of 12 chicken eggs. But it comes out in the most beautiful shaded teal, and I just thought, oh my land, this is something I want to try. Something that interested me, and now we have them here. So
alright, so Jocelyn, tell me about this pen. What did you have to build specifically for the emu? So if anyone's looking at getting emus, what in the world do they need in order to stay safe and be able to cohabit with them?
sure, so due to predators out here, we built a 6-foot-high fence for the emu and for the dairy goats, and then we used commercial chain link. The pipes and the fencing are commercial grade. We also have a larger swimming trough for them. They like to get their feet wet. They love mud, so they like to do that too. As far as their food, I started buying rabbit pellets, which I didn't know I had to do. They like the alfalfa rabbit pellets, so I mix that in with sunflower seeds, and they do a sweet grain from the goat ratio. And they also, when we mow the fields, they get weeds and they love that. So it's been interesting. Yeah, the fencing was probably the most extensive, and then it has tension wire along the bottom and rails on top. We do have coyote and fox out here.
And have you ever had a predator in this area with them to see if they go after the predator? Do you know how they would be if something gets given here?
I do not. not. We have not gotten down that far.
Okay.
We've had predators with the goats, and I have not lost anything here. I do have dogs that are livestock oriented that help protect everything, so I'm thankful for that.
And then, since you talked about how they're kind of broody, like other avians, things like that, so did you have to build them like giant dinosaur nests? Tell me about how in the world you would even get them set to even lay eggs. How would they go about doing that?
Well, the interesting part, so they have an enclosure. It's actually a goat stall at the moment, but they have an enclosure like that. They prefer to be outside more, so my husband's going to build them a small loping shed almost. And what they do is it's very interesting. The male will actually make the nest. She doesn't do any of the work. So the male will make the nest, and it's basically just extra straw and clippings from the ground, sticks, and he'll make his nest nice and comfy. And he actually will pick out the feathers on his breast, just like a female chicken would do, or turkeys. I'm not to that stage yet. I'm still new in the game, so I'm excited for that to happen. But yeah, no nesting boxes. I prefer to be outside.
Okay. Alright, so Jocelyn, as you guys can see, this is a pretty tall fence. I'm only about 5'3", and this is obviously a 6-foot fence. It's taller than I am. And then you said that it's got this lower part here, Jocelyn, right? And is that just so that things can't get under, like foxes and things like that, to get in here?
Right, it's tension wire, so it helps stabilize the bottom of the fence from things coming in. And then eventually we're going to run 2 feet out, chicken wire buried down, and have it sweep up a little bit just so things cannot dig. We've done that with the rest of the property, and this is our last step between that and then our top rows here.
Okay. And as you guys can see, where we're standing at, this ground's pretty open. It's kind of bare. There's not a lot of vegetation versus if you look down here in the middle, there is still a little bit of native grass. So with that, Jocelyn, can you tell me, I know we've talked about this, but tell me, why is there a little bit of bare ground on this edge here? How does that relate to emus?
They're interesting in the fact that they pace the fence lines almost like cattle, and they have very specific little routes that they'll take. I think it's fascinating to watch them. You can see it's more worn. They do eat the vegetation, but they'll eat up top here and let this regrow. They're very conscientious about regenerative farming, is how I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. So now we'll walk up here, kind of start interacting with the emus and talk to you guys about emu expression and their body language compared to other poultry birds you might have, such as ducks, geese, turkeys, and anything else you might have on your own homestead or farm or ranch. Alright, so Jocelyn, now that we're here with one of the emus, tell me about their body language and their expression. I mean, how do you know when they're scared, when they're stressed, when they're happy? How in the world do you read an emu?
Sure. So when they are scared, they become, see how they're kind of sloped over? When they're scared, they'll become almost like up and down. They get really skinny and tall, very skittish, they jump around a lot, and they hiss. So it's a very deep hissing noise. The females drum, and that's how you can tell the difference between a male and a female. The female will have like a drum sound in her chest. I call it a growl. It sounds like almost like a bear growling. It's a very deep rumble. They're pretty docile right now. They're not too interested in the food, it seems so.
So when comparing their body language to things like the geese behind us or the chickens over there, is it comparable or is it completely different?
It's been completely different. They move differently. They're quiet. They're a lot quieter. Chickens and geese obviously are very vocal all the time. They're very quiet about things until they're upset, or strawberries. Hi, Mama. They do kick from the front. That's their defensive mechanism. They don't kick from the back or scratch from the back. It's all front moving. And this is how they sit. It's the most awkward position I've ever seen a bird.
Yeah. And if you guys know anything about birds, you know that most of the time they'll tuck their legs under and sit all the way down where they're flat on the ground. Versus these guys, you can see it's almost like a whole 90-degree angle, if you will, right there at that joint that they sit down on. So that's pretty unique compared to most of the other avians that you would have on a farm or ranch here in Pueblo County. So then with their coat, you can even notice that their feathers don't even look like a chicken or a turkey or a duck. So Jocelyn, tell me about like the texture of them. I know you've touched them. Is it comparable to touching any of your other birds?
It's not. It's almost rough and coarse. It feels almost like hair more than it does an actual feather. If you feel it kind of wiry almost. It's a different texture. Most chickens have soft, turkeys are soft, goats are soft. These guys have almost like a wiry texture to them. Their legs feel like poultry legs, only it's a tougher leather feeling, I guess you would say. Like calluses on it. As you can see how big their toenails are. I don't know if you can see that, but it's roughly the size of a human thumb.
Very large. So you all can see. So this is my shoe here. I'm going to get a little close to the emu, hopefully not setter. But you can see it's pretty large compared to my boot. And we have one running right in front of us, but they are large. These are large birds, bigger than most anything else you've really encountered. It's definitely bigger than like a peacock or anything else you might have. They're very, very unique. So with that, since they're not even from this continent originally, so how do you think they're dealing with like our extreme heat, or even Pueblo has pretty mild winters, but how are they doing with the cold since they're originally from Australia, where they really don't have to deal with that? Have you noticed anything like that with them?
Right, so they actually, we're the opposite as Australia. So in December is when they become broody and want to lay eggs. We have snow on the ground. So my male was out with twigs and grass and stuff and snow. He would just have the snow covering him. They did very well through the winter. We had to encourage them to go in with the goats for the barn. So far with the heat, they've been okay. They have shade most of the day. They do need more mud, so they like their mud and stuff. But so far we've been okay with the temperatures and haven't had too many problems. But I thought it was really interesting that they all bed down, kind of like a grouping, and the snow will just cover them. Yeah.
And now, so with that, we'll go ahead and talk about what you can get from an emu and why they're becoming a more common thing you might see on a farm or ranch, and how they're actually becoming a main staple in production ag in more ways than you think. What you'll notice in this clip is the elevated head position emus have when they pick up speed. Their neck becomes more elongated and their legs move rather quick. Emus can't walk backwards, and researchers currently believe this is due to their knee joint. They are the only birds known to have calf muscles. As you can see by watching them move around, they are truly unique creatures that have individual personalities and very expressive movement. Alright, so now Jocelyn, I know emus produce a lot of different products, and so everyone watching, you can get meat from them, you can get their eggs, but the other unique thing is they also get oil from these. You can hear them drumming actually in the background, which is a really unique sound. You won't even hear that from any other poultry or bird here on Jocelyn's property. And then a lot of people use them to make leather, and their feathers are also used in a lot of products as well. So Jocelyn, with that, I know you said yours aren't laying eggs yet, but once they get to that stage, are you going to be selling the eggs for people to either raise their own emus or even sell it just as for meat production as well?
Sure, I'm hoping to sell eggs. I'm also hoping to sell chicks at some point. I've had interest in fly tires for their feathers when they do start to molt. So I thought that was kind of an interesting process, that we're going to collect feathers for fly tying and fishing. They will be used for meat eventually. Their meat has more of a beef or wild game consistency. It's not like your chicken or your commercial butterball turkey taste. It's a dark meat. It does have a wild, kind of gamey taste to it, and it's very rich in flavor, very rich.
Awesome, good to know. So that is like kind of the unique market, if you will. The American Heart Association actually does claim that emu meat is actually a bit healthier for your heart than compared to some of the more traditional meats that you think of, such as cattle meat or other, even the white meats in our poultry and things like like that. So they're a really good alternative, especially if you have some sensitivities to eating specific diets. Emu is a great alternative, and as you can see, they do really well in a farmer ranch setting. It doesn't take a lot to make sure these birds are happy and healthy and live a very successful life. So with that, the other cool thing is their oil. So if you can see, their body is quite large. And so Jocelyn, on an estimate, how heavy is a bird this size in this age range for you?
Sure. So Wilma here, I have Fred and Wilma are my two breeding pair. She's about 65. They go between 60 and 75 pounds. So we've estimated that with our vet that came out. And then the younger ones that I have here, they're about 45 is what we kind of estimated.
Wow.
For size.
Is that their max? The 65 and up is kind of their max range?
75 is kind of your typical range for most of this breed.
And as you guys can also see while we're standing here, one of the big things you want to remember is the safety aspect. This is a big bird. They are a little domesticated, but these are still very wild compared to some of the other animals you're going to see on her property. So with that, you want to be aware of their sight and their balance. So as you can see, emus have eyes on the side of their head, but they don't actually look back like some of our other prey animals will, like our goats, our chickens, or things like that. So right now I'm kind of in that zone where they can't necessarily see me as well unless they turn their head. So that's why talking with them, making sure you're aware of their space so they're comfortable, is really key in handling more exotic birds like this, so you're not making them feel uncomfortable or making them feel like they're being threatened by a predator. These are actually prey animals, even though they may not seem like it, but they actually are. So emus provide products that include emu chicks, eggs, leather, oil, feathers, and meat. Emus grow fairly fast as they are considered fully grown in 5 to 6 months from when they hatch, so they are a great production bird if you are looking for an animal with a shorter window of time for your operation. Emu meat is considered red meat like beef instead of white meat like other poultry birds because of the presence of myoglobin in their tissues, giving the meat a distinctive taste, texture, and color. The taste is similar to beef or lamb, but it's a leaner meat and lower in cholesterol and sodium. Emu oil is used in various medicinal items to help with conditions such as dry skin, wound healing, sore muscles, and a few others. Emu eggs can range in color from green to black or even the teal combination you see in this photo, and they weigh about 1 to 2 pounds. One female can lay 40 to 50 eggs a year, and they lay eggs typically from December through May. For comparison, one emu egg is equal to 8 chicken eggs.
So their feathers with the wiry consistency, they're longer. The shafts on these are really long and then they split off. This is one of their back feathers, it looks like. You can see how long it is. They are softer towards the base.
And do they molt year round, or is it a seasonal thing?
It should be seasonal. We should be getting up on it. You can tell her feathers in the back are getting a little ratty. So she'll start losing them. They're known, they do not have actual wings for flying. They're a ground bird. So if you feel their wings, it's almost just like a little shoulder feeling thing. So they never like extend and have full wings.
Thanks for watching this second virtual tour of unique Pueblo agriculture. Next month we will be touring some local areas that have water buffalo. Be sure to save the date for Tuesday, July 19th to jump into the next tour. As always, be sure to like and follow the Pueblo County Extension Ag Facebook page or become a subscriber on the Pueblo County Extension YouTube channel so you'll never miss a new video. Until next time!